In America, they threw tea in a harbour, picked up their muskets, and said, "Not today, George." So now they light fireworks and sing about freedom like it's a religion. But here in Britain, we queue quietly for tax hikes, despair as the bins overflow, and the potholes qualify for UNESCO heritage status, all while mumbling "could be worse" as the country sinks like the Titanic in a beige suit. 1 year into this new government, and I have one question: where is our revolution? Because if there was ever a time to throw something in a harbour, it's now. Preferably the entire political class, detached, uninspired, allergic to ideas, and addicted to vibes. We used to burn effigies, and now we just send a tweet. Although even these days that can feel risky, just in case it gets flagged as extremism for suggesting bins should be emptied once in a while. But before I get into this, please have a think about subscribing or giving this video a like. So I've lived in the US. I've seen what national pride can look like. I was at elementary school during the 9/11 era when patriotism wasn't just performative, it was felt. Everyone, regardless of age, felt it. You could see people genuinely believing in the American project, even when the politics was broken. I've experienced the 4th of July, the fireworks, the barbecues, the singing of the anthem like it's Broadway. America still fights for itself because deep down it still believes in itself. And weirdly, even now, through all of the chaos and the TikTok psychosis, America still has a pulse. What do we have? Labour won, technically, but it was the least enthusiastic landslide in recent history. More people stayed home than voted, and most of those who did vote weren't voting for Labour, they were voting against the Tories, which means that the new government wasn't chosen, it was inherited, like an office mug no one wants but nobody wants to throw away. This doesn't feel like a new era. It feels like the start of a 4 year general election campaign where the only action is posturing. We don't have conviction, we just have calculated optics. Everyone's just trying not to offend anyone or stand for anything. And if you're wondering what that lack of conviction looks like in practice, just take a look at the bills that they're quietly slipping through the back door. Late stage abortion, assisted dying, sweeping ideological changes that weren't in any manifesto, never debated during the campaign, and yet somehow now they're here, as if being in government is permission enough to reinvent the social contract without asking. I've spoken about this before, how Labour campaigned on stability, then started governing like a think tank with a god complex. These aren't just policies, they're philosophical shifts about life, death, and the state's role in both. And yet, no national conversation? Just announcements quietly drop like they're hoping we won't notice until it's too late to care. And have you noticed that when MPs actually want something, when it's fashionable in Westminster circles, debates get scheduled, papers get waved through, speeches get made with trembling sincerity, and suddenly the system works? But when it's something that you or I want, like stronger borders or the right to deport someone who's broken into the country and broken the law, then it's complicated. Then it's, "Oh, we'd love to help, but our hands are tied. It's those pesky civil servants. We're just working within legacy frameworks," which translated from politics to English means we don't actually want to do it, and we're hoping that you'll get distracted by Love Island before you notice. When did democracy become something that only works upward? When did the people become an afterthought in a system designed to serve them? Because if Parliament can move heaven and earth for the things that it cares about, then it sure as hell could do it for the things that we do. Now, look, I'm not here to endorse Trump, but at least he had an agenda. He took office and he did things. The things that he promised the electorate, good, bad, whatever you think of them, yes, but it's action and it's governing. He has a lane and he is barreling down it. Here, we can't even agree on a junction without a public inquiry and a petition. And even petitions which do get support quickly get shelved if Parliament doesn't agree. Our leaders aren't visionaries, they're just vibe managers. But here's the deeper problem, because we've started thinking that revolution just means burning it all down. That wanting change means you have to lurch to one side or the other, radical left or hard right. But real revolution doesn't have to be extreme. It just has to be meaningful, vision led, and managed well. So take a look at the headline in the Telegraph ran: "One millionaire leaves Britain every 45 minutes." And yes, it's headline bait. But look closer at the data and you realise it's not just about Labour's first year. It's not a new problem, it's a trend, a slow bleed that began long before the last Tory government fell asleep at the wheel. We've been watching capital, talent, and opportunity drain from this country for years because no party has had the guts to fix the system underneath. And no, just taxing the rich isn't revolution. It's not bold, it's not new. It's a quick fix dressed up as moral clarity. It won't rebuild national pride or rejuvenate our economy. We don't need punishment, we need vision. Jeremy Corbyn had a vision. So did Rupert Lowe. You didn't have to like either of them. You didn't even have to agree with them. But they stood for something and were straightforward about it. They dared to imagine alternatives in policy and economics in the future. And what happened? They were sidelined, not by the electorate, by their own parties, for the crime of offering a direction and conviction for what the party said it stood for. They were straightforward in their views and intentions. And that says everything you need to know about our political climate. We punish politicians not for failing, but for daring. We're scared of boldness. We see anyone who dares to dream as either dangerous or unserious. But what's more dangerous, a politician with ideas or a political system that punishes them for having any? And that's why revolution isn't coming from Westminster. Because nobody in power wants to imagine, they just want to manage. And once upon a time, people showed up because they felt things. Diana died, and hundreds of thousands went to Kensington Palace overnight. It was organic and it was real. Now, every cultural moment is pre-approved by a committee. Even the outrage is admin heavy. We've outsourced our rage to social media, we send a tweet and we feel morally superior. We mistake visibility for victory. So no wonder nothing changes. But some people are noticing, because look across the Irish Sea. Whatever your thoughts on what's been happening in Ireland, the riots, the protest blockades, the flashpoints, one thing's clear. The Irish haven't lost their fight. And I'm not here to romanticize anarchy, I'm not endorsing violence or disorder. But I am asking a question. Can you have a revolution without a little anarchy? Because polite emails and well-worded petitions don't move mountains. And when peaceful protest gets drowned in bureaucracy or buried under online moderation policies, people eventually stop asking, and they just start shouting. Ireland may be messy right now, but at least it's alive. The question I have is, are we?
It's been 84 years.
This is the country of the glorious revolution, of the Chartists, the trade unions, the suffragettes, the founding of the NHS, even Thatcherism. Whether you love them or hate them, they were all ideologically revolutionary. Once upon a time, Britain didn't just react to history, it made it. And now, all our parties are just playing a risk-averse middle manager, trying not to offend anyone, managing the optics, tuning their values to the latest YouGov poll. Every party is terrified of being brave, because brave things are risky, and risky things don't poll well. But revolutionary change has never come from playing it safe. And it doesn't come from tweeting about potholes and waiting for the next round of mildly concerned statements. Let's just say it. Devolution hasn't exactly helped the vibes. Scotland has its own parliament, Wales gets to sing its own anthem, Northern Ireland has two flags, one shaky power sharing deal, and a political migraine that never goes away. And England? England gets to pay for it all and not talk about it. We don't even have our own parliament, and we're told that it's offensive to fly our flag. We don't even have our own anthem. God Save the King isn't England's song, it's the monarchy's. It's not about who we are, it's about who we're told to serve. We're the only country in the Union that gets side-eyed for showing patriotism. We can't sing, we can't cheer, we just queue, grumble, and pay the council tax increase. So maybe England's lost our fight because we've lost our voice. And when a nation can't even sing its own name, how the hell is it supposed to find its soul? But maybe the real question isn't where's our revolution? Maybe it's what would it even look like if it showed up? Is it a hashtag that trends for a day and disappears before tea time? Is it spray painting a war memorial, then posting on Instagram with a solidarity caption and a matching outfit? Is it a vibe shift, a rebrand? Because somewhere along the line, revolution stopped being a political act and became a performance piece. And if everything is rebellion, then nothing really is. So maybe the question isn't why aren't we revolting? Maybe it's would we even recognize a revolution if it kicked down the door? I don't have the answer. But if we don't start asking the question, we'll keep mistaking noise for change and confusion for courage. So let me be clear, this isn't about starting a protest party or voting out of spite, because the problem isn't left or right. It's that we've built politics with no passion, no vision, just vibes. A system where everyone's afraid to mean anything in case someone doesn't like it. Nobody's willing to say, this is what we believe and this is what we're building, because conviction is dangerous. And God forbid a politician actually stands for something and risks losing the next poll. So, this is a call for vision, for leadership that actually leads. We need politicians who can say, this is the country we want, here's what we believe, and this is how we'll build it. Not vague slogans, not PowerPoint policies or heritage vibes, not another leadership video shot on a high vis res on a construction site that doesn't exist yet. 1 year on, and this government still feels like a holding pattern, like a band stitched together by the algorithm, not the people. Labour campaigned on change, but now it just feels like they're still campaigning. The U-turns, the flip-flops, the carefully worded nothing statements, they don't say new era. They say, please still like us in 2029. The borders are wide open. Taxes are still rising and depression is climbing. The vote for change feels like a change for the worse. And I'm not nostalgic for the Tories. I'm not romanticizing conservative chaos. I'm just longing for a party that does something, that governs like it means it. What we got wasn't revolution, it was beige governance and passive aggressive policy drops. It's not a new vision, it's a polite shrug in a pantsuit. So maybe it's time that we stop waiting, stop begging politics to believe in us. Stop pretending the revolution is coming from Westminster because it's not. Maybe the real revolution is quieter, slower, but a bit more dangerous. Maybe it starts with remembering who we are, not who we're told to be. Because right now, Britain feels like a country left on read by its own leaders. Muted, managed, micromanaged into numbness. And we can't tweet our way out. We can't vote our way out if the choices are all beige. So what do? We stop asking permission to care. We stop being embarrassed to feel. We stop confusing silence for civility and call things what they are. Because across the Atlantic, they're lighting fireworks for their independence. And here, we light scented candles and say, oh well, as the roof leaks and the bills go up. They threw tea into the harbour. Maybe it's time that we threw some things out too. The deception, the lies, the sound bites. Not out of rage, but out of love for a country that used to make history, not manage it. Because if we've forgotten how to revolt, then maybe we've forgotten how to live. Britain doesn't need a red hat to be great again. We've always been great. And I don't have a manifesto, but I have questions. And maybe you do too. So tell me, what would your revolution look like? Drop your ideas in the comments, and if you like this video, please click subscribe. Thanks.
Okay, a little about me. I respond to strong leadership.